Good morning, guys. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Somebody give me a sound check. Let me know if you hear me okay. Testing 1, 2, 3. Good morning. How's my sound? Karen, Peter, you guys hear me okay? Screen is good? Okay, excellent. All right, well, opening round trade kind of is a couple of minutes ahead of our opening, unfortunately. So, hey, good morning, good morning. So I took it for myself, but I can't really take credit for it. I'll explain to you exactly the new structure that I have. It's a very, very simple, streamlined idea of the indicators that I have, and we're actually going to reduce everything to a single indicator, one indicator instead of having two. But it's essentially a combination of trend and fade in a very interesting way that I think you guys is going to intuitively make really good sense to you guys and offer us a super easy, super simple way to pick up all the scalp trades that we do during the day. So let me explain this to everybody. I'm going to let me give it a couple of seconds while everybody straddles into the room so they can understand it. Essentially, this is a fade and a trend fade put together in a modified format. The fade has a little bit of a different way it counts lows. It doesn't count them consecutively. It counts like, 5 lowest lows. But if there is a skip, if there is a higher low in between there, it just simply stays at the same count. So like if there's a low and then there's a higher low and there's a lower low, it just simply goes to count 2. And then if there's a higher low, it stays at count 2, and then it goes all the way down until you get to the count 5, which is where it prints a low or it prints a high. So what that does is it essentially is a little bit more forgiving in finding highs and lows. And because the way I'm using it in this way is not as a signal, but as a filter, it doesn't really have to be perfect. But what it does do is it offers us a very, very good way to position ourselves. And the basic algo in how we're doing this, look at the pop. Wow, just right off the bat, we're popping right back down off the sell-off. The basic rule for the algorithm is if you have a high, or put it the other way around, if a trend buy is preceded by a high, if there's a high and then followed by a trend buy, then you just go long trend buy. You have a high, you go long trend buy. If there is no high, in this particular case, the second trend buy does not have a high in front of it, it only has a trend buy, you don't trade it, you ignore it. You ignore this as well, right? And what that does is it essentially, the whole idea here is, if you think about this, the thesis is you make fresh highs, you get a retrace, you go back in the direction of the move. But when you don't make a fresh high, when you don't make a trend high, then that retrace is nowhere near as valuable in terms of a signal, and therefore you ignore it. You pass up on the signal. So sometimes the retrace, the continuation retraces are tiny. Like here, here's a trend high. You get long over here, and I think you only get maybe, well, you actually get 5 points, I think, or maybe 3 or 4 points. That's all you're gonna get. But you can see how on the second trend buy, it just falls by the wayside because what it shows is that it hasn't been able to make fresh highs, so the trend is nowhere near as strong as it was. And just to give you an idea, you work it the exact same way the other way. So you have a low, and then you have a trend sell. So you take a short on this trend sell, and obviously that worked very, very nicely, for a full 5 points. Now you have a second trend sell without actually making a low. Now you made a price low, but you didn't make the low indicator, which is what we're looking for, because the low indicator shows a consecutive, continuous selling. It's not about making price lows. It's about the intensity of the selling that we're trying to capture. So we don't have a lot of intensity of selling. Therefore, we're going to ignore this. I mean, this certainly would have worked fine if you took this trade, because it's just opening market volatility. And opening market volatility is pretty much always going to give you, what you want on these positions. But that's not the point. The point is if you want to just simply stick to the thesis of the idea that you have fresh trend highs and you want to be buying the retraces, not fresh trend lows, fresh indicator highs, and you want to be buying the trend buy indicators. And if fresh indicator lows, you want to be selling the retrace signals. So this makes it a lot easier, also a lot more specific as to how you want to structure your trades. Now, does it work always? No, it doesn't work always. And as a matter of fact, it fails, as all continuation strategies fail, in a very, very sloppy range-bound regime. Now, in this particular case, it doesn't fail. Oh, sorry, I take it back. It actually, this is a first trend sell signal over here, so it's too short, and you don't get enough continuation here to have really made the move for full take profit. So it sort of kind of really fails here. If you took this trend signal, you would have been okay. But it really, in a short range environment, you just don't have enough of a continuation to kind of make it work. So you could see that in overnight trade, when it was very, very quiet, when we're just moving basically 10 points up and down, which is very quiet for NASDAQ, nothing was going on. We were basically, getting stopped out if we'd taken these trades. Now, what's interesting is that once you get stopped out once and you see that the range really doesn't, that you're sort of circumscribed by like one high, one low, there's an interesting counter way to trade this that I find fascinating. And I'll get to that in just one second. But before we, think about the range-based structure, let's just take a look at what all the other indices are doing, just to see if we have any signals in the indices. So, obviously, again, same kind of a thing. In pre-market, there was a trend sell against the low here that would have worked for 10. Right now, there's just nothing going on over here. Let me just comp this down here because it's too loud. In the Dow, let me see what the S&P is doing. So S&P actually has a sort of a trend sell signal here on this move, and if we trade this with, we could try and take it. I'm a little bit late on it, and I don't know if I have it. I think I do have it. I'm gonna just, I haven't even bothered. Ooh, wow, this is 20. Ooh, this is a very large. Ooh, this is a very large. I took a huge position on the S&P. Sorry, I sold it. I tried to sell it for a point down, and it actually, obviously, worked very well. Sorry, let me configure my thing here, because obviously I got like all sorts of crazy stuff here. I had like a 20. I didn't know I had a 20 position on this thing, so it was a really big win, but like for too big a large size. So so the idea here is, you're selling the low. I'm sorry, you're selling the trend signal against the prior low, right? So if you were sort of following this perfectly, it was a 92, 96 would be the stop with a 91, and obviously, it drops even further here for a decline. So certainly, offered us an opportunity here on this. Let me see if I have I have the Dow set up, and I have NASDAQ set up. Okay, so I'll minimize all of this for right now. Oh, I'll go put them all on, and then we'll see what's going on here. Nothing much setting up over here on this way. So while you guys are first of all, is it clear what I'm showing you? You don't have this on your indicators just yet, because I didn't, I haven't marked the lows and the highs. It should be fresh high, fresh low if you have those indicators, or F low, F high on your indicators. But I'm just waiting for for Daniel to consolidate these two indicators into a single indicator that will provide us everything we need. So we'll just have to be able to lay down one indicator, and we'll have all the proper signals on the chart against which we then can trade. Everybody clear on what I'm showing you? Does everybody understand the principle of the idea? So this obviously works super well in any type of a 120, 130, 150, 300 candle type of trend. Any type of trend that has even a modicum of continuity, which we, as you can see in the overnight trade, really haven't had. But let me pull back. I think we had a decent trend at the beginning of Asia. Yeah, so here's Asia. Asia really had actually like sort of a very, very clean start. Like at the beginning of Asia, sort of when the New York market closed, we actually started to have a very nice long continuous trend. And you can see how you have a high, you have a trend buy, you get long here, you make money. You have a high, there's no trend buy. You have a high here though, you have a trend buy, a little bit of a slippage against you, but again, you make money. You have a high, you have a trend buy, you make money. You have a high, you have a trend buy. I think this one, I think you actually survive the 20 because this is very, very tight. It goes all the way down to like 97. It goes 18 against you, but then it actually does hit +5 right on this button over here. So it sort of exhausted itself on the last moment here. But that was a nice long continuous trade. And then here you don't have, as you can see, you're not trapping yourself into false trend buys because you don't have any highs against it. You don't have any highs against the move. So you're really not trapping yourself into kind of false trades that don't work. Here you have a high with no trend buy, so therefore you don't get trapped into the move. Here we go into like I said, a very, very choppy construct, and then just taking you would begin to trade it differently once you start to see that, okay, we're basically trading range after about an hour. You see the range has not been broken. Then a much more interesting way to trade this is to reverse the logic. I'm going to show it to you in a second, but let me just see where the market is at right now. Trying to see if we get any movement. So, okay, no signals here. So you would reverse the logic in a very interesting way. So imagine you pretty much think you have a range-based environment. You're coming in, you're coming in and you see that really the highs and the lows have not been broken. That a sort of a very simple way to understand that you have a range-based environment is that you are trading either side of the 200, right? If you don't have a trend of 100 candles or more, even 50 candles or more in one way against 200, you're just basically in a range-based environment, right? Is that clear? So, ooh, are we just going? Are we dipping? Looks like we're dipping hard here. Let me just see. Ooh, what a crash. So we might be setting up for a low here. Let me see if it's gonna take a. Actually, I need 1, 2, 3. No, I got a couple more candles. If this creates a low signal, then we're going to start looking for a trend sell against this. But in the meantime, so while you're on the, you don't have a 100-point move against the 200. All you see, you're coming in. Let's say it's 4 o'clock in the morning. You see that the price is just basically done 20 candles up, 20 candles down, 20 candles up. It's clear range. When it's in clear range, then you reverse the logic. And the highs and the lows become the trigger trades, the trigger candles, and the trend sells and the trend buys become the filters. So the way you work it, when you say, okay, you know what, I'm in a range-based environment, which means I want to sell highs, buy lows. I want to sell highs, buy lows. And in that case, what I want to do in this position is if I have a high preceded by a trend sell, I'm selling it. I'm selling it. You know, same thing, 25, boom. And if I have a low preceded by a trend buy, in this case, I don't have a trend buy, so it's not a legitimate low. If I have a low preceded by a trend buy, then I'm gonna be, you know, buying it. So, you know, here I have basically a high preceded by a trend sell. I sell this. I also have a high here preceded by a trend sell. Now here you have a little bit of heat. If you're using 20, you survive the heat. It goes up against you 13, then it drops like a stone. And you make money. And then finally, again, you have another high here. Now this is starting to be at the beginning of a trend. But the beautiful thing about kind of, you know, fading the highs, fading the lows is unless the trend really verticalizes, it always has that little retrace mode. So you have a trend sell here, you have a high, you sell the high, and you definitely have enough more than 5 points to, you know, to make your, I think what you coming in at here at, it's 175 and the low here is 97. Is that right? 97? I thought it was lower. Maybe I was wrong. 97. So it's actually you get 4.5 points. I mean, I think, you know, you especially in a low volatility environment like today, you may only be able to get like 4 instead of 5 points, which is what I've been kind of setting my targets at around 4 instead of 5 in this quiet environment. But regardless, the point is you could trade it, you know, you could trade it the other way if you want to get. Now, once that trade clears and you start to see a duration of more than an hour above the 200, you're clearly now in the trend zone, and it clearly makes it much easier to make pips. So like I got long over here, 13, that I easily made 5 for me over here to 19, right? Here was a high that did not give me a trade, so I didn't make the trade, which is great, you know, because I avoided unnecessary stop out. And that's the beauty of this whole thing, is it's not going to print a buy or a sell if the trend changes to red, and it just avoids the unnecessary buys or sells you don't have here. So where am I here? I'm just trying to see where the count is. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we need one more candle to the low to actually create a low. We're gonna have 35 seconds. If this thing breaks the low, it's going to create a low indicator for us. Where's the this one is 1, 2, 3, 4. This should be a low, actually. I'm trying to figure out why this isn't the low. Maybe it needs one more low. Oh, maybe this one. I think maybe because this took out the highs, it reset itself. Maybe this is resetting itself for a fresh low. All right, we'll wait till we get a any kind of a confirm that we have a low. So far we don't. And then we want to short the retrace against it. Okay, so here's a low. This printed a fresh low on the S&P. S&P is considerably low. It's another thing that's very cool about this is you can see relative strength, relative weakness, right? If the S&P is printing 3 lows and NASDAQ is only printing 1, it's telling you that somebody is weaker than the other, right? I mean, look at this. You could see it on a relative basis, and that gives you, if you're kind of hunting the shorts, you want to say, oh, maybe the S&P is a better short because it's a weaker trade right now, and I'm going to wait for the trend signal to to get me into a trade. Let's see where the Okay, so Dow also printing a low right now. Where's my thing? Here we go. I'm tempted because the Dow is just always such a screwy little trade. I'm gonna just buy the bottom here. I'm gonna do the exact opposite of what we're supposed to do, just because we got nothing else going on here and it's boring. But I'm gonna try and buy the low here because I think it's gonna work. So I just bought the low. Let's see if I can get 72 out of this Dow. Um, is there a chance this thing is gonna pop up for my link? I'm just you know trying to pick tops and bottoms here, which is always a futile, stupid thing to do. But we already had like very, very steep sell-offs. And I'm probably going to regret this miserably. But yeah, look at that. I can't. This is why I should never try to bottom pick the moves. But I have a big wide berth here. I do think if it does stabilize, I certainly think there's a reasonable chance I could make it for 10 here. But it's again not a trend trade. I don't have a low here. It's interesting. I have a trend sell here, signal, but not a low. So I can't really I can't really take this trade, even though it would have worked because it's not part of the structure that I really want. That's interesting. So we didn't make fresh lows, and the trend sell kind of just dipped a little bit, came back up, which is fine. I'm not gonna play the game. I'm gonna why isn't this working? Huh. That's interesting. Oh, why is this session 2 limit? Yes. Oh, okay. Wasn't working. Okay. I want to bottom pick the S&P right now just because what the hell. You know, again, off the low, looks like we kind of bought the bottom. Let's see if I can get 83.25 just because I got enough, we got no, and there we go. The S&P worked for a point. And I'm holding on obviously to my Dow just to see if that wide berth that I gave myself is actually going to play itself out. So I am, I'm violating all my rules because we got nothing, no real setups here, but still, letting this play out. Let's see if I can get the 10 points. So close. Trying to stick to our take profits. Okay, so I managed to pull that one out again. Fun trade. I mean, not a that's why I did it small size, just not because not because it was the right trade. Now, what's interesting here is I do have actually our setting up. Now I got 18, 19, 20 seconds, so I got plenty of time. But this really calls for a sell, and I'm just going to wait until the candle completes. Okay, I sold 76s or 77s actually. And let's see if this works the other way. Let's see if if my thesis here works the other way, to the downside, and if I can actually make the good trade to the downside. And there we go. And so I took one incorrect trade and one correct trade. Of course, the correct trade worked much faster than the incorrect trade, but it was good for 20 points on a round trip. All because the key thing here is when you're doing it properly, you're patient, you're coming in at the right moment, at the moment when you really should be shorting it. Not when you kind of think, it's a done deal. This probably, yeah, and same thing. I was going to say same thing probably happened in the S&P. I just didn't have a chance to do the S&P, but the S&P would have been good for another point also. So you guys get the idea of how that works, right? Anybody trade the Dow with me on to the downside on this? Good job. And that was really smooth, right, Connie? It was just super fast, right? So it doesn't always work this way, but in the opening hour, it generally tends to work that way. In the meantime, you see how much more choppy the price action in Nasdaq is, and it didn't, and Nasdaq did not give us the low signal, so we didn't take it, and we were able to really step away from what is very, very wide, wick territory here on the Nas, and we can leave it alone. So that's that. So you can really see. So here, this is Dow, right? And the Dow effectively from what time is it? 6 o'clock till now. This is a 3 hour. It's 180 candle effective trend. There are a few spikes, above the trend, but none of them, none of them really, what I would call legitimate. This is even though this is a signal, I would have definitely passed on it because the actual trend buy. I mean, one of the things that I really have an internal rule on is even if it's a kind of a trend buy signal off of a high, it's got to be above the 200 SMA, and it's not. This is already showing you the price action has declined significantly. So therefore, there's very little that you that you want to do. There's very little chance that this is really going to be a good signal, right? On the other hand, you start the price action over here. You have the low. You could have taken this trend sell, but if you were a little bit more cautious, you certainly could have taken this trend sell to the downside. You don't have any trend sells over here, so you pass up on all of these. Here's a low against this trend sell. This just before the market opened, and that would have worked very nicely. And here's a low against this trend sell. So staying true to the trend, you kind of see how you're coming in very much at the right price flow. Obviously, this is market open, so you have huge spikes against you, and if you didn't take the profit over here, you're vulnerable to volatility. But overall, if you sort of, I wonder if I can do a highlighter because this is. Let me see if I can do this. Maybe a rectangle. This would be good. If you sort of isolate, the key points of where the trades are which is not here, not here, not here, here. Basically 3 quality trades. You get a very good idea of the setup, and the way the way it plays out. So now we're actually setting up a fresh low. It just keeps falling now really, really hard. Let's see what the Nasdaq is doing. Nasdaq doesn't have any trades down for a fresh low. What is the and you see the same story in the S&P, right? But over here, low against the trend sell, you could just see how this this creates a very, very clean trade. So now I have a low in the S&P as well. I'm actually, let's stay with the S&P here for a second, see if it gives us a trend sell signal. Or let's just be stupid again, because I once hooked, I'm always hooked on this thing. So this is a low. I'm gonna wait for this low to complete. And basically, oh, it looks like a double bottom. Let's scalp it for a point. And basically, that's what I'm doing. I'm just letting myself fool around for a point here. Okay, I'm scalping for a point. 83.25 is my target. Let's see if I can get it for a point. There we go. Again, just fooling around. But as I I'm just doing all the wrong things because I'm bored. But at least I'm doing them. The whole point is I'm buying them at extreme low valuations. So the possibility of them really just running me over completely are small, right? There's definitely a chance they're going to pop up. Sometimes they pop up on the next candle. Sometimes they make 2 or 3 candle bottoms and they start to to make pop up. But I'm trying to it's already the 3rd low in a pretty long extended trend. That's the beauty of this particular mark, is that you don't pull the trigger until you really see a hard continuous low. And that's why I really like this particular way of picking lows. Gives you as much of a chance as possible on momentum to the downside. And as I said, it's temporary. The trend could still continue quite a lot. But if you're just trying to scalp for a point or 10 points in the Dow, you probably have a chance. If you come in over here on this low over here was a low. It was 33 and it went all the way up to 48. So you had 10 points on the Dow as well. So you get the idea, right? But so far, oh, look at that. NAS is finally starting to print the low. So now, we have, and by the way, one thing I really don't want to do is I definitely don't want to try to, buy a falling knife. And NAS is the one index that will roll you over, right? NAS is the one index you don't want to be, try to bottom take, because 20 points in a NAS is like one candle. They could just flush it down, right? So I'll restrain from trying to take bottoms in the NAS. But let's see if we get a trend sell signal here against which I could short. And I think I also obviously have the I'm just going to pull it up on my other screen. Let me see if I can do this. I should memorize this. Scalp. Reload. I'm just watching my on my other screen because I I can't watch both screens at once with you guys. It does pop though. I mean, if you wanted to trade, if you had balls to step into this trade, it actually popped for you on a move. But look, when you're looking at this visually, what you're trying to do is obviously see if it'll kind of come into this retrace box and then fall off again into the move. Let me see what the this is getting close. We have 1, 2, 3. I need one more candle on the Dow to create a trend signal for me. Let's see if it's doing it on the NAS. No, NASDAQ. I mean, S&P has still got a while to go. Let's see what the Dow is doing. Yeah, okay. So I got 28, 29 seconds. Let's see if I can try to play the sell signal on the Dow here. Gonna wait patiently until we get a close. All right, I sold it at 64, I think, 65, 65. Let's see if this comes back to me. May feel a little bit of heat because remember, this is like the third or the fourth signal and trend. So, it could certainly come back against us, but I'm sticking with this trade. Let's give it a shot. Let's see if it can retrace, for a sell for us. Also, while this is happening, so we'll leave this alone. Let's go to NASDAQ because NASDAQ is actually setting up also. Is it not, or is it not? Oh, this might be, really? Huh. Why is it not setting up? Okay, it's not setting up. Okay, it looks like I think I think I'm close on my, yeah, and I got done on the Dow. So if you guys traded the Dow, that was another 10 points on the Dow. So that was good. I lost count already. We had 30 points on the Dow, right? That's really good. 30 points on the Dow. So NAS did not, I thought NAS was sending me a signal. Why? Oh, I'm looking at the Dow. Oh, sorry. I'm looking at, like, how come it's on my other chart? It's showing it to me, but it's, so no, NASDAQ has no signal. It's the next trade, but you guys, you get the idea. I mean, the Dow was beautiful today as far as the setups go. Anybody trade that again? Second time around? Nice. Oh, I forgot to tell you. I have the like this version, this the new default version of the applet for MT4 in the Dropbox. So if you guys are interested, if you're trading on MT4, you can use the trade applet on the thing. I think that's actually, what do you think about that name? Somebody give me a better name than the stupid session trader. Like trade applet? I mean, is that good? Or, trade navigator, trade executioner. Trade executioner. I like that. The executioner. Somebody give me a good name, please. I'm horrible at naming them. You terrible? What? You terrible at names, Cheryl? You terrible at like naming things? Yeah. So I'm watching NAS here. Still, still kind of struggling, trying to see if you can build up a trend sell signal, but not so far. Oh, you like the executioner, trade executioner? Maybe we'll call it that. I put a little skull and bones. I think Doug told me you can put like little images on here, so you can put a skull and bones on there. No, that's horrible. I I'd like a little bit more peaceful imagery than that. Maybe trade commander. I like that sort of, done with authority. With a little, like how they have that little, what is that called when you the thing that runs the boat? That little wheel that the captain has. What is that called? Anybody know what I'm talking about? Like the wheel that the ship's commander, the little round wheel, spins. Okay. So nothing, no trade setups coming into the rudder. No, not rudder, not rudder. Big round wheel, Peter. Jesus Christ, nobody here is a sailor. Oh, you guys are all horrible. Okay, I'll have to look it up now. Now I'm like obsessed with it. Hold on, let me look it up on my other screen. What the hell is it? Oh, it's so annoying. Wheel that controls the boat. Ship's wheel. It's called the ship's wheel. Boat's wheel. It's literally called the ship's wheel. Jesus Christ, there's not an actual real name for this? That's hilarious. Or tiller. Tiller, I guess tiller. Standard the tiller. Tiller. That's the old name, tiller. Okay. So it's either a ship's wheel or a tiller. There you go, guys. All right, let's take a look at a NAS. Is it going to come into my play here? Are you going to come and give me a sig? Not so far. I need 1, 2, 3. This candle needs to be beaten to the high, which I don't think is going to happen for a while. So no trend signals here. This got to move through 80. This candle has to hit 80 in order for me to consider this as a possible trade, because it's not going to give me a signal until then. So let's see if that works. And if it doesn't, then it's going to reset back to 0. So let's see. Anyways, tell me that this isn't like a much more intuitive way of trading, where we have a reference point, we have a signal, we trade off of that. It makes it much better to anchor yourself. You can really see the price action developing in front of you. I mean, obviously, you're never going to get perfect. You're going to miss. Like, this has been an opportunity. You're going to miss opportunities because it's not always the signals aren't always going to set up perfectly to the price action. But as this, there's as close as possible to this trade master. Trade master. Nah, Peter. I like trade commander. Commander is like, less, more Navy-like, not so domineering. Lieutenant commander. So you see what I'm saying? So like, yes, it's never going to perfectly just describe the price action. You're always going to have sometimes misses. Like in this case, I'm clearly missing the turn. Basically, what you're trying to do is, if you think about this, in every trend, up or down, in up, the trend is a V. So high, corrective, back up, right? The trend is a V. Every move is a V. Every move is a V wave, right? Every move is an English letter V. And on the downside, every move is a U. So you have a sell U, right? and that's really what this is designed to capture. I mean, when you look at any price action on any time frame um, doing its own thing, and you're going to essentially um, all you're trying to do is capture that move. You're trying to capture the U to the downside, the V to the upside as a retrace trade. And what this does is it's as good as indicators as I've been able to develop that tries to capture that action. And then of course, obviously we can quantify it and trade it. Um, what's going to be cool about this, by the way, I mean, I don't want to promise this because I know it's going to take me a while to do this, but because we're going to make it into a single indicator, which means that it's going to be a single MT5 indicator, we're going to be able to actually tie it into the trade commander, to the applet itself. So we could have a button here that says turn it on, and it will automatically, like, we won't even have to, press the buy and the sell. So it will automatically trigger once the once the logic on that particular indicator happens. So you could have the beautiful thing is it's going to be a semi-automated structure where you're not going to continuously, every time you look at a chart, you're going to have to set this up, because the whole point is you've got to be selective, but it's going to be very, very cool. And then obviously the beauty of it is you'll be able to adjust the stops and the targets dynamically if it's working, or if it's not working, or if you just want to bust out flat. All of the functionality that we have here will be well within it. I really love this semi-automated solution much more than I like the fully automated solution, because you have much better control over particular trades, right? You could even I could even have it set up to take the next 2 or 3 trades in a row, just like we have, to look at next 10 candles. We could have all that functionality in a super tight little beautiful applet, without much rewrite, because it's all going to just simply take the logic from the indicator, which is kind of really cool. So I got, unfortunately, I got nothing else. The trades happened. We got the trades done. Now we're turning. Now all of the stuff is going to be probably another hour to half an hour to kind of develop, to see whether this trend stays in place, or we're going to this is the bottom, we're going to reverse. I honestly, I don't have a really good clue. It looks like we're tired. Looks like that 4,200 on the S&P clearly had its impact, right? And so therefore, I don't think we have much of a trade here. So we'll watch it. Let's watch it. I will say though, this particular trade probably wouldn't have worked for us. So if we took this, I didn't take this S&P. I'm not sure if I had the full. I don't think I got a point here. 82, just missed it. I think. Yeah, I didn't really get a point out of this move, because this sell, with a lot of the profit was already in the sell, and that this is something that you cannot really quantify. It really becomes a matter of art when you have 2 or 3 signals. This is like the third signal in a trend, right? And that signal is really coming off pretty much the low end, the very, very low end of the. You're basically selling the bottom, right? And the question is, do you really want to take that trade when you're selling the bottom? You kind of don't. I would even venture to say that even though I don't have a low signal here, if I get a second signal here, remember, like I said to you, when you get a trend sell, when you reverse the ideas and you go trend sell against the high, you want to sell the highs. And I would actually, if I get a high signal here, let's just do that as our final trade. I would trade that with pretty strong confidence, because I think, here we go. So where's my S&P? 88. So I would need, what do I need? I think it's going to start. It's going to, because the green trend is only starting, I think, on this candle. Now maybe even on this candle. I think I need 2 more candles to the high. So let's give it, because this is really going to extend. And if it's going to give us a high, that's going to be a high probability short for a couple of reasons. One, because we're deep against the 200. So it's very unlikely we're just going to verticalize and go full V. 2, we have a trend selling in front of it. So that reverse format, we use the the sell as a filter and the high low as an entry candle on the reverse side is a really interesting complement to this strategy. You know, the dominant one is obviously you want to trade in the direction of the trend. When you counter trend trading in the direction of the bigger trend, that seems to work also. So the only problem is that we may not be able to get the the high signal here because this thing is kind of exhausting itself. But let's be patient. The thing is, you don't want to rush it, and you certainly don't want to force it and say, oh, it's high enough. I'm going to get short. I've made that mistake many times. You want the signal to. The whole point is that the signal is coded in a way to give you the highest probability that is the high. You don't need to guess it. And if you miss it, you miss it. But it's much better to wait for the high to appear in this space than not. Than not. I am missing a trade in Nasdaq. I'm seeing it out of the corner of my eye. I think it probably would have worked, but I'm kind of late to it, so I'm not gonna chase the move. But if you look, let me just take you to Nasdaq. So you were short here. If we were here at 79, what are we looking for? We're looking for 75, right? So it came to 76. Still floating, but I think it has a reasonable chance here to come down to 76. You need 75 actually. Sorry. I think let me just make sure what the proper target would be here. 78.50, so -5, 73.50. Almost there. Just came in down. I probably would have taken it here just because it's so high, but I think it might actually even go down. But you guys get the idea that even in this level, it actually doesn't. It actually helps to have this yellow box, right? Because you really can see the zone, the zone of retrace over here on the move. But here I probably would have closed, at +4, because it's one of the things that I don't like to do is I don't like to sell if a trend. I don't like to sell trend sell very, very deep below the red, meaning that it's I'm basically selling the bottom. I also don't like to sell it all the way above because that's suggestive to me that it's more of a turn than anything else. The price action could have turned. So I like to be like right in the middle or maybe on the edge of this. That's when I really want the trend sells to be. Once I'm here, I get a lot more cautious and try to just take the trade back. Let's go back to the S&P. Where are we on the S&P? Still not showing up. But this is what I mean about being patient about getting the high. If I can get the high here over the next couple of candles, I'll definitely want to short this. But for now, I'm not getting the look. Oh, the helm. Thank you, Steve. Steve, are you a sailor? What's a tiller? The helm. Yeah, that's right. Hold the helm. You hear that in the movies, right? You hold the helm while I go get my coffee. You're not a sailor? Tiller is a small sailboat. Oh, okay. Got it. All right. Thanks, guys. See, come for trading, stay for sailing. It's trading and sailing lessons today. All right, so I'm watching this because if I get a pop here, that's going to give me the high, I think. Is it going to give me the high? Maybe not. No. The high is going to be 5. It's going to be 5. So I think no, actually, hang on a second. I think it will give me the 5. If this beats it, this is going to give me the 5 because I think it's doing a 5 count. Let me see if this is going to work. No, it's still on the 4 count. Damn, it's still on the 4 count. What is this? This is 1, 2, 3. Why is this not? I could have sworn this must be a 5. Why is this not? Let me see something. Yeah, that's the 4 count, so it needs to be the 5 count. Okay, it doesn't matter. It's going to give me the 5 count here. That's fine. Okay, so on this candle, I'm going to short this candle just for fun and profit. Thank you, Mel. We're all getting confused as to what the boat's tiller is. We've got 38, 39 seconds here, so probably somewhere around here. Let's give it a shot here. I'm waiting for this thing to complete. But let's see if I can make this happen. All right, did I sell 50s? I sold 91.50, so I could take 90.50 back. Let's see if this gives me a chance to take it back. If this high works for me, the thing about these moves is they will run above you. So the key thing is, do I have enough room here, breathing room at 4 to kind of survive the overflow and then have it come back to the downside, or is this one of those very rare pure V-shaped reversals, which it could be. So that's fine. If it is, it is. We still would have had a very, very good day today on the trading if this doesn't work. But I'm putting this trade out as a very interesting example of a counter trend move. But still with the bigger trade, basically where I'm using the high lows as entries, not as signals, just kind of the reverse of the whole setup. Because what I love about the setup is how flexible it is on both ways. If you're just open-minded and open-ended to kind of viewing it, you can trade it both ways and not fall in love with your point of view of the market. Just let the market come into you. Oh, and we got done. Wow. I was looking at Mel's definition of boat tiller and it got done. And there you go. Just another good example of let's be patient. Let's wait for the signal to come in. Let it print. Don't try to front run the signal, and give it ample room, and boom. So actually, a super great day. Like literally no losses today at all. Shit, I don't even know. Like, what did we do today? Let's look on the amount of trades. So 4 wins. Is it 4 wins on the S&P? Yeah, 4 wins on the S. Why is it? No. Oh, no. I'm. Hang on a second. I got to do it by symbol. And okay, so 2 wins on the S&P. 1, 2, 3 wins on the Dow. That's it, I think, right? Oh no, we're not going to count that. That was crazy ass thing. So is it 3 wins on the 3 wins? Yeah, 3. So 3 wins on the S&P and 3 wins on the Dow. So 30 on the Dow and another 3 points on the S&P. So it's 33 points. No NASDAQ trades today at all. Wow, no NASDAQ trades. Look at that. No NASDAQ trades. That's very unusual for us, but still pretty good. Good day today. Excellent day. Hope you guys all banked. I know you guys traded the Dow. I don't know if anybody traded the S&P with me. It's a lot of fun. It's a little difficult, obviously, to do it on the CFD side for 1 point, but I think it would have worked for 1 point on the CFDs even with that, because it's small enough that it beats the spread, I think, right? So that's it. Everybody have a good time. Anybody trade any of the stuff today? Unfortunately, or fortunately, we didn't do anything on the NAS because NAS was just not available for us. Great. So just unfortunately, we got no. What was I gonna say? No NAS today, but NAS will show itself up later. Yeah, S&P is wonderful. I mean, like, if you, especially if you're trading futures, it's really great. It's just that I think on the CFDs, they're a little wide on the spread, even though they shouldn't be. It's the most liquid instrument in the world, but they keep it a little bit wider. But anyways, hope you guys like it. This stuff, by the way, works so well on FX as well, but on an hourly chart, like really boring ass stuff on FX, which eventually we're going to be able to do. Also, another thing that we're going to be able to do. I just talked to Daniel about this. This is super cool. So remember how we were talking about like doing a scanner in MT4, MT5, blah blah blah, so on and so forth, right? And we could never do a scanner in TradingView because TradingView didn't have this capability. Well, guess what? TradingView just announced a new thing called Pine Tables, which is essentially going to give us the scanner capability. So we essentially could create a scanner on FX, like an hourly chart, like 20 currencies that will show us, the trigger points where, like, where we have a low against a trend sell or a high against a buy sell on various issues. And it's going to I think that's going to be awesome looking. I mean, it's obviously in the future, but like, it's going to be awesome. So just sharing with you what I really want to do as we get further into it. But for now, I mean, the setup is beautiful. It's totally, it's going to be simplified to a single indicator now. And hopefully, we'll get it all running. All right. Thank you guys. Another good session. Today's Wednesday, right? Oh, good day. Hump Day Wednesday. Thank you, everybody. I hope you guys, you all enjoyed it. Any questions, let me know. I got, the MT4 applet is there of the Trade Commander. I think I'm gonna pester Doug, and I am gonna put the helm on that thing just so that we could, call it the Trade Commander. I love it. All right, guys. Thank you again. Everybody have a wonderful day. I'll see everybody later. Take care.